Hey Lucy, Lucy, do you want to play Pokemon? Here you go. Here, also, here's your controller. Alright, let's start.
So, it's time to look at Easter eggs in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Personally, I play the Eevee version, but the Easter eggs will be the same for those of you who prefer the Electric Rat. Version rivalry aside, it is worth mentioning that these games are remakes of Pokemon Yellow, so if this video seems oddly familiar, that's why. Either way, like every good Pokemon game, you start in your character's bedroom, which is actually relevant as I'm recording this after beating the Elite Four, which is required for some stuff later in the video, so spoiler warning, but come on, we all know how these games go. Now, as is tradition, we can see that your character's television has the latest Nintendo console hooked up, which is of course the Nintendo Switch. And above the computer is a poster of Nidorino vs Gengar, which is actually a callback to the very original opening of Pokemon Red. Oh, and the image on the calendar depicts an original sprite used way back in the Pokemon Party screen. Now, if you don't know, there's been a long-standing tradition that when examining the TV in the player's house, the movie on screen depicts kids walking on train tracks. Of course, Let's Go stays true to this, though it's moved down into the living room as the upstairs TV was occupied by the Switch. The other running tradition in these games is that in the first town, there is a man who exclaims that technology is incredible. This game is no different, and this time he boasts that you can connect your Switch to your phone, which is pretty neat. Unfortunately, however, it seems that this game lacks the technology and thus has no concept of days and nights. There's just no time system in this one. In Diamond and Pearl Onward, the console knew your birthday, and the game had a concept of time, so when you walked into a Pokemon Center on your day of birth, you'd get a nice surprise. This time around, it's basically Pokemon Let's Go Celebrate by myself. Now, in Pokemon Sun and Moon, there were very specific Pokemon that were rideable, and in previous games, you could have your Pokemon walk behind the player. Game Freak decided to go all out with this one, and they made every single Pokemon capable of following the player, many with wacky walking animations. And among those pokes, at least 18 of them are rideable, 2 are water only, 3 are flying, and the other 13 are ground only with varying speeds. Charizard, Aerodactyl, and Dragonite are special in that they allow you to fly high up in the air, even over buildings and ledges, and whatever else, assuming that you've beaten the Elite Four. It's also worth mentioning that while up here, you can still run into wild Pokemon. Normally when using the Skydash on a rideable Pokemon, they disappear and your trainer uses the extremely dangerous balloon machine, which I don't think is FAA approved. When using Skydash on one of the flying Pokemon, they sort of just float up off the screen, a bit anticlimactic. Dodrio, however, is basically an ostrich, so riding is fairly fast. It's also a flying type, so if you use the Skydash ability to fly to a different town, Dodrio will just sorta jump into the sky. Now, one of the odd features shown in the trailers for this game was the ability to change your Pikachu or Eevee's hairstyle. Well, here's how it's done. You have to play the game in handheld mode as it requires use of the touchscreen. Play with your companion and use at least 2 fingers while rubbing its head. If you get a white cloud and the hair changes, well done, you did it. The first 4 hairstyles require 2 fingers, the next 3 styles require 5 fingers, and to achieve the glorious afro, you'll apparently need 8 fingers on the screen at once. I've included a well-made IGN article on the topic in the description as they did their best to figure out which motions correspond to which hairstyles, so check that out if you're trying to recreate one specific hairstyle. Now after you've beaten Elite Four and become the new Kanto Pokemon champion, a boy will meet you outside your home to inform you that Master Trainers have appeared out in the world. Master Trainers are those who have spent all their time with one specific Pokemon, basically the one-trick ponies of the world. There's 153 of these trainers out there, covering every single Pokemon in the Pokedex, which includes Meltan and Melmetal. What we're interested in here is the Master Trainers' names. Pikachu's Master Trainer is Trainer Ikui, found in Viridian Forest. Meanwhile, Eevee's is Trainer Aoi, located on the Pokemon Road. These two are named after their Pokemon's voice actresses, Ikui Otani and Oi Yuki. There's a number of other trainers with noble names as well, like the Master Trainers for the Ghost Trio, which can be found hiding throughout Lavender Town. Their Pokemon are Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. Their Master Trainers are named Ari, Danny, and Ross respectively. Someone out there must be a fan because those are the names of 3 prominent members of Game Grumps. I'm also a fan, but that's besides the point. The next 2 worth mentioning are Zubat's Master Trainer found in the Rock Tunnel, named Scientist West, and Golbat's Master Trainer inside Victory Road, named Scientist Keaton. West, Keaton, Bats. Yeah, these are referencing 2 Batman actors, Adam West and Michael Keaton. The final Master Trainers worth pointing out are a trio of Bird Keepers. There's Farfetch's Bird Keeper Mo in Vermilion City, Doduo's Bird Keeper Barney in Cerulean City, and finally, Dodrio's Bird Keeper Seymour over on Route 15. I don't know why they went with birds, but Mo, Barney, and Seymour are likely referencing characters from the TV series Simpsons. And insert obligatory steamed ham reference here. Finally, let's finish off with what I'll likely still get comments about as no one actually seems to finish the video before pointing out what I missed, that being a truck. So after exiting SS Anne and reaching Vermilion City, walk back down the pier and swim off to the right. Nearby you'll find another disconnected pier with the infamous Mew truck blocking the way. Now, if you're not familiar with the story, let me share a nugget of information. Back with Pokemon Red and Blue, Mew was added to the game's code, but it was never possible to find one and capture it through normal gameplay. You could only ever get it via special events. However, glitches are a thing, and even back in 1996, some trainers were able to get Mew. This spawned many rumors as to how one could find one of their own Mews, many of which involved the truck located near the SS Anne. The idea was that if you could use strength on the truck, it would reveal a Mew that was hiding underneath. This, of course, is all speculation, and ultimately false, but it's nice to see that they made sure to include this truck in the game after all these years. And if you're curious, unfortunately, this game's strength, called Strong Push, doesn't actually do anything. It was worth a try though. With that, let's call it here.
Hey Lucy, is it okay if I stack stuff on you? Yeah? Alright, cool, thanks.
Whoa, look at it, you made it to the outro. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks to my channel members. Just look at those names of all those cool people. If you enjoyed this video and want more Easter eggs and glitches from me in the future, please be sure to subscribe. That's about it for this one. I'll see you in the next video.